medium left. K right. 100, slippery, easy right. Medium right, medium left, slippery.
Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5.
Easy left.
Any 5
K
items
right,
for
slippery. Very, very long, medium right, press. Easy left, slippery. 100, caution, long, medium right, easy left. Jump. Checkpoint, long, medium right. 50, K left, keep right, medium right. 200, slippery. Open hairpin right, bridge. 50, medium left, easy right, slippery. Medium right, slippery, easy right. Long, medium left, press.
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items
150,
for $3.
very, very long, K
Any 4
left.
items for $5. Any 5 items for $20,000.
Easy right, slippery. Caution, K right. Jump. 3. Checkpoint. Open hairpin right. 70. Long, medium left. K right. 100. Slippery. Easy right. Medium left. Slippery. Easy left. K right. Slippery. Easy right. Caution. Hairpin left. Very, very long, medium right. Press. Easy left. Slippery. 100. Caution. Long, medium right. Easy left. Jump.
Yeah, the final lap.
Checkpoint. Long, medium right. 50. K left. Keep right. Medium right. 200. Slippery. Open hairpin right. Bridge. 50. Medium left. Easy right. Slippery. Medium right. Slippery. Easy right. Long, medium left. Press. 150. Very, very long. K left. Easy right. Slippery. Caution. K right. Jump. Finish!
All right, first place.
Finish!
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for $20,000. 2 items for any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for
Of course. Restart.
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for $20,000.
Rumble Viper. Yeah, the final lap. Hurry up.
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Try this. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000.
Place. Restart!
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 4 Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for
Ninth place.
cookies and 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 cookies.
Restart! Lap 2. Of course! Restart! Restart! Lap 4. Of course! Restart! Restart! Second place! Third place! Hurry up!
Here it is. Golden Oreo Blizzard with golden Oreo cookies and
Fifth
cookies and cookies and cookies and cookies and cookies and cookies and
Come on now, with this accident.
That's a comical amount of
2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000.
Stop! That's a comical amount of fish!
Lap 2.
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000.
Place! Second place! Third place! Fourth place! Eighth place! Ninth place!
Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000.
Wow! Lap 2.
Any 2 items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000. Any 2 items for $3.
I can't lose here.
Ninth place!
items for $3. Any 3 items for $3. Any 4 items for $5. Any 5 items for 20,000.
Yeah, the final lap. She picked up a robot apocalypse as what?
The new. The new. The new.
First place! Incoming missile! 1, go!
The new.
Complete! Grand Viper!
Lap 2.
Volcanic Viper!
The new.
Determination.